Currently, where are you right now?
I am in Seattle, Washington.
Oh yeah, yeah. How's the weather over there?
It's a little bit cold, but it's nice. Spring is coming, so that's nice.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Joshua Chris podcast. Today, we've got another guest with us, Maho, a senior software engineer at Microsoft and also the CTO at Somos Tech. It is so great to have you here, Maho.
Thank
I
you
mean,
for
it's been for a
inviting us.
minute. You're welcome. How's it going? How you doing?
Everything good here in Seattle, Washington, and the weather is nice. Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine. Excited to have you here. Do you wanna introduce yourself to the audience so the people get to learn about you better?
Sure. So I'm Maho Pacheco. I am a software engineer in Microsoft and CTO at Somos Tech. And I have experience like 20 years of experience in software development. And I'm passionate about building systems, software systems, creating opportunities for underrepresented communities in tech. And in my career, I have spanned like around coding systems, distributed systems, but also solving a lot of different real world problems with technology. And I'm super excited in the AI era too. Like everything that we know about software development is evolving rapidly, but at the same time, it remains almost the same. So yeah, super excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Today, we are going to be talking a lot about AI, artificial intelligence, software development, coding, and all of that. I mean, I've got a few questions here for you, but just before we get into them, I mean, we just should talk about a little bit, DeepSeek. What do you think about DeepSeek?
Yeah, I used DeepSeek a few days ago, and after it was released, and I think it's good. Like having a new model that brings new things to the market that is small. At the same time, it doesn't take a lot of resources to be able to deploy it and train it. I think it's super cool. It push forward all the competitors, so that's nice. And yeah, it is useful. I tried to use for my tool vocal cat, but it didn't
Oh
work
yeah.
that well. But it is nice. Yeah. Um, yeah, so it brings a lot of things like reasoning, deep reasoning. Is a little bit verbose for my taste, but yeah, it's good to have another one there. And at the end, it will commoditize like LLMs for everyone, which is, I think, is a good thing. Yeah. And like the
Okay.
the user interface is very similar to ChatGPT, but it's also open source, so you can release it and you can download it
Yeah.
from Hugging Face and then put it in a virtual machine that you can just use in your local machine or local computer or your own cloud servers. So that's nice.
Let's explore AI's role in shaping software development. Think about it. In today's day and age of AI, I do want to know, how do you see the role of software engineers evolving beyond writing code? Think about AI tools like
Hmm.
ChatGPT,
Yeah.
even GitHub Copilot, and I mean, you could think about right now, we do have, you know, online coding tools. There's things like Bolt, Lovable AI, and these other ones. But beyond that, we actually do right now have things like AI powered IDEs, like AI code editors. It's absolutely amazing. We've got things like Cursor, we've got things like Codium Windsurf, we've got things like Trey by, a parent company of TikTok, ByteDance. It's amazing. But thinking about all of these, how do you see these all playing together? Do you see a future where coding as we know it becomes sort of obsolete? And if so, what role will software engineers play in an AI first development ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, probably in the future, in some point of the future,
Okay.
the coding can become obsolete or at least very different. But I think in the short, in the medium term, which is what I care, I don't think software engineering is shifting a lot. I can think on AI or what is called Gen AI as something that is like a fancy autocomplete. It is like an exponentially fancier autocomplete, but at the end, it's just that. So it really helps you to generate boilerplate code, refactor code. I saw something in VS Code that you can now, like in Blazor, which I am using a lot, you can just select a part and say create a component right from this, so it can refactor code really fast. You can even suggest optimizations, but still the engineers need to know why and how systems work, and that is not going away. Maybe just the goalpost, or maybe like the barrier of entrance gets moved, and now more people can code from the beginning with AI. And I think that's cool. That's empowering more people in the planet to actually become coders. So time ago, the only coding language was assembly, and it was very difficult for a lot of people. But then with high level languages, it enabled people that didn't have like a master's degree or like a whole degree to actually do coding, and that really brought like diversity and better programming languages and everything to the software development. And I think that's super cool, and AI is enabling more people, right? So AI is like a load code tool for coding, right? Like a Power Platform or other tools where you just need to drag and drop things. So it makes things easier. You can create prototypes easier, but it's not gonna replace everything. It's gonna replace a Figma and a developer that needs to think about accessibility and needs to think about performance and things like that, right? In software development, there is always trade-offs. Another thing, like instead of replacing engineers, AI can amplify or impact and help us to decide in those trade-offs, right? Software engineers will take more roles like system designers, problem solvers, even curators of AI generated solutions, but it's not going to replace coding. Maybe it's going to replace certain junior tasks, like tasks that junior engineers do, but it's not going to replace either like junior engineers or senior engineers or intermediate engineers. It's just going to shape like the way that we code. It's going to make everyone like a 10x engineer, but we still need to make sure that software remains reliable, secure, scalable, and even asking the right questions to the AI, even prompting, it's difficult. AI can generate the perfect code, but for the perfect question. And that doesn't exist. Like the perfect question doesn't exist. Everything is about depends, right? So coding is not gonna become obsolete. It's just gonna become fundamentally different. And the lower level, like repetitive aspects of coding, may change and may be largely AI driven, but engineering is more than syntax and it's more than codes, right? So we still need to debug, we still need to validate AI code, we still need to architect complex solutions, optimize
Oh yeah.
performance, security. So that is not going to change. And I mean, if anything, the role of software engineers is going to become more strategic, right? So we need like a strong system of thinking. So the ability to use AI tools rather than compete with AI.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about AI-driven innovation in scaling systems. I mean, defining modern software, how can AI optimize scaling? All right, fault tolerance and resilience in distributed systems, while maintaining real-time efficiency. Think about, but I'm definitely looking forward to hearing what you're gonna say. But if you think about the progression so far, it's been absolutely amazing. I know we thought it would come a day that we would be living in this era, but it's really been a journey. So do you want to talk about how really AI can optimize scaling and all of the other things I talked about as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think AI is already transforming how we approach scalability and resilience. I think there's gonna be more tools like with AI, but I think at the end, um, getting the right optimization still is gonna be difficult. It's gonna be still a trade-off. Sometimes you can say, okay, I want to make this part of the system more like write driven than read driven, or a database, the right partitioning, um, the right architecture distribution of systems. Not everything needs to be a microservice, not everything needs to be a monolith. So, and then you have hybrid, like between them. So I mean, all those questions still remain, and I don't think the AI will solve those. But the AI can do things like auto create indexes in databases. It can help with observability. It can help to predict failures before they happen, like maybe analyzing logs and metrics and traces. And this is machine learning. This is not Gen AI, right? But platforms like Azure Monitor or Datalog can use AI and use AI for anomaly detection, and you can reduce downtime. So I think detecting patterns and things like that, it's a nice use of AI. Also, maybe it can automate fault recovery, like maybe it can optimize auto scaling a little bit more than our current heuristic models for auto scaling. So it can adjust resources based on demand patterns, and maybe it can take other sources of information for those demand patterns. So think about, you have social network and maybe elections are coming, and that is something that maybe the AI can think, oh, 4 years ago elections really like drove demand 4 hours after this event. So those kind of things, it can automate auto scaling with a little bit of machine learning detecting those patterns, right? And maybe we can have these kind of things like injected in like Kubernetes level or in the cloud part. So that's something that is cool. Intelligent load balancing, I mean, very similar, like traffic management. Maybe it can be used with AI and machine learning against preventing bottlenecks. But again, at the end, you have an architecture, and, and the other AI use AI
Oh
to
yeah.
um, generate a design. And I think, I mean, AI can really help you to detect risks, detect where you can optimize, detect when you can improve fault tolerance. But at the end, is your
Absolutely.
decision. What do you want to do, right? So I think AI has a lot of predictive capabilities, but it needs human oversight. Human oversight to build like self-optimizing and maybe self-repairing architectures.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And let's talk a little bit about, AI across the software fields, and developer tooling, stuff like that. You know, so how do you see, the transformation or AI radically transforming core development tools from front-end development to back-end engineering, version control, testing. I know you're a little bit, waning away, but now you're gonna talk a lot more about it. To version control, testing frameworks, testing is really important. DevOps and CI/CD pipelines, data science as well, and even engineering management. How now that's quite a list, but how are AI tools redefining workflows? What platforms, frameworks, or tools stand out, and how can engineers across different domains seamlessly adopt them to redefine developer productivity?
Yeah, I mean, I love Gen and AI for a lot of different things. And again, one of the things that I did was generate a network diagram. I like it was years ago since I generated that network diagram. And the other day I said, okay, I have this architecture. Please generate a network diagram, and it just generated everything. And you can say, okay, translate this from AWS to Azure, right? And now you have these Gen AI tools that can do that and make things very easy and very fast. And I think AI is touching every part of the development lifecycle, right? From writing code to the ends, as you mentioned. So in the front end, you can go there and say, hey, um, make this more accessible, make this more beautiful, more this and that. And it really like it's gonna help you to write the boilerplate, but to really inject the bits of accessibility on to really make it beautiful, which is subjective. I don't think AI can do that, right? You need a human to actually do that. But definitely it can speed up development. You can say, okay, take this CSS code and try to make it more modular, or maybe translate to this or other platform. I think that's super cool. And in the backend coding also, like I start this tool that I was writing everything for SQLite, and then I said, okay, take this and transform all the SQL for PostgreSQL. And it just took me like 10 minutes to translate everything. And now I can do a full prototype in local SQLite and then push it in the cloud for PostgreSQL. So it is still like needs a little bit of fixing, but it is getting better. Version control and code review. I mean, it can auto generate right now commits, right? And then it can auto generate, like auto do code review and PRs. I use that very often, including for documentation, right? You can say, hey, on this documentation, please help me to improve the style, or help me like detect risk in this architectural design review and things like that. And that really like makes things faster and insightful. It gets like a little like a slippery slope there, right? Like what happened if now you have something like auto-generate commits from an AI, and then an AI reviewing those commits. So at the end, it's like it is really like a human there. So you need gateways, but yeah, for sure, AI powered PR review tools are the thing. Testing and debugging, I think AI can generate tests, unit tests. It can generate load testing, a lot of things, catch issues like very easy, very fast. um, you still need to define what is the right amount of unit tests, and what do you want in these scenarios, what do you want to test. So it's not replacing QA, it's just replacing like the generation of code. Sometimes it took me weeks to write one unit test, the right unit test. Well, AI can help you to achieve it faster, but it still is not going to replace all the process. And like in testing, having 100 code coverage doesn't reduce the number of bugs. uh, it doesn't it is not a measure of quality. Maybe 50% code coverage, but the right like type of test is one gonna help you. So AI is not replacing any of that. CI/CD and DevOps, AI can optimize build pipelines. Maybe it can automate deployment process, but still you need to write them, and you need to know what do you want to do in the CI, in the CI and CD. And data science and AI. I mean, besides Gen AI, ML, MLOps, machine learning, for sure, it's advancing a lot. And I am not an expert in data science and AI, so probably like a data science people can talk about it, but it really is pushing forward a lot of what's happening, right? So again, the real chief is not in tooling, but it's in how engineers work. So AI allows for faster iterations. It is like proactive initial solution, and it can help to have a more streamlined workflow across different engineering practices, but still it's not gonna replace engineers.
Right. Awesome. So here's the final question for this podcast. You know, I mean, a lot of people definitely would want to hear what you're going to say to this, but someone out there might be a total newbie to the software engineering industry. So, for someone new to the space, what's the best way to thrive in this AI driven world? Do you want to share specific examples like learning platforms, AI focused tools, or programming languages that are shaping, the industry? Because right now there could be a lot of things that are totally opinionated, but you could say this programming language is probably better to learn in today's day and age because of the rise of AI, and stuff like that. So, what paths should they explore to stay ahead in different areas, including integrating AI into traditional development workflows? So, in general, roadmap for new developers in this AI era.
Yeah, I think like fundamentals of software engineering are not gonna go away. um uh, like I try to learn Rust, and I try to code Rust with AI, and it really can generate the code. But at the end, to do some changes or identify some changes, you need to understand how programming languages in that level, which is like closer to, like it's a compiling, it's closer to the machine resources and hardware, works, to be able to know how to change. So fundamentals are not going away. If you want to start with software engineering, even in the AI era, software engineering fundamentals are fundamental, right, to learn. So for that, there is no replacement, and the existing course on Microsoft, Coursera, or whatever you find, or a university, a bootcamp, still is not a waste of time. But at the end, is try to integrate and get comfortable with like all AI. Doesn't matter if it's GitHub Copilot or Cursor or ChatGPT or whatever, right? Um, Learn how to verify generate code. Don't rely on them blindly, but integrate them in your current workflow. Focus in the system design and problem solving. All those system design questions, how to generate like architectures that are scalable, maintainable. It is a skill that you still need, and there are like really good books like designing data intensive applications and other books about that. So really, system design is still a thing. Um, and I mean, just like try to develop like an AI first mindset as a tooling where you explore like different AI things, um, but as a tool that enhance your current workflow, not as a replacement. Yeah, so I guess like the future is gonna be bright for those who can blend AI with their software engineering skills, but they have both, right? And yeah, that's my recommendation. Focus on the fundamentals, but just integrate AI as much as possible into your current workflow.
Absolutely. That was really good. Thank you. Thank you, Maho. I do really appreciate it. I mean, we could actually have another episode sometime later, probably to even dive into things like security concerns and stuff like that. Because think about it, you could be using Visual Studio Code right now, and you could place your hand on an API key from, let's say, Anthropic, from Google Gemini, from OpenAI, and even DeepSeek and the others, Olama, etc. And you know what? If I actually get into that, we're probably gonna talk about it. So maybe some other time we're gonna have another episode and go over some other things. But it's been absolutely wonderful having this conversation with you. I did really enjoy our conversation, and
Yeah, thank
thank
you.
you
Thank you.
for sharing your knowledge and insights with us on the Josh Chris podcast.
Yeah, no, thank you. And again, AI is not replacing engineers. This is just redefining our roles in the industry. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. Thank you, everyone. Do you wanna? First off, I believe you subscribe to all my YouTube channels, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
All right, that's all from us for now. You might want to check out the next video showing on your screen right now.